Welcome to another episode of Dave's Movie Dailies. I am Dave D. Saints, about to speak about my second film that I saw of last year, which is called Nosferatu. I have to say Nosferatu 2024 because there's been a stream of Nosferatu movies, and I literally started a marathon on these Nosferatu movies because I wanted to know what this film was going to be about. I knew it was something to do with a vampire. Later on, I got to did some research, and I realized that this was a German person who made this story up of Nosferatu, and it was like a German take on Dracula, of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So, being that they did a Dracula movie, they had to change the name because of copyrights. So they changed it to Nosferatu, and it's a German film. And it was, so the movies go like this. Back in 1922, there was Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horrors, which was the original film, which was a silent film that I saw. It was really boring. It was with music, and I don't know. To me, it was just dull. It wasn't until the second one, Nosferatu the Vampire, and also the side title was Phantom of the Night, which was in 1979. It was a remake and an adaptation to Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. Now, the first one was what's that called? The first original 1922 one was inspired by Dracula, the 1897 novel, but this one was a direct movie based on that book. Now, obviously, like I said, they couldn't keep the title Dracula because of the fact that of copyrights. So they changed it to Nosferatu. After a few years later, they made a sequel, a spirited sequel called Vampire in Venice, or another title is Nosferatu in Venice, and it was 1988, which that one was very, like the first one, 1922, wasn't as sensual and sexual. The second one, Nosferatu the Vampire, showed little things here and there, but Vampire in Venice was very sexual. It was like, at one point, it kind of resembled softcore porn. Like, it got really, really serious with the nudity and the sexual stuff and everything. It was just like, wow, it blew my mind. But it's got a sequel. It's kind of like Nosferatu survives and he continues on. Or, yeah. So continuing on, the next one that I saw was Shadow of a Vampire in 2000, which is funny enough, Willem Dafoe, or Willem Dafoe, the way that he pronounces it, portrays Nosferatu. And the funny thing is that Willem Dafoe was actually in the new Nosferatu, which was in 2024. So he played him in 2000, and in 24 years later, he plays the investigator, which is ridiculous. But it was a good, that one, the Shadow of a Vampire, sucked so bad. It was based on this group of people who, John Malkovich was the director. They wanted to make a movie based on this character. And they didn't know that it was actually a real vampire, and he starts killing everybody and all that stuff. Continuing on, then they came out with 2023's Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, which was a direct remake of the 1922 film. This one starred Doug Jones, who is famously known for a lot of characters that he's played. In Hellboy, he played Abe Sapien. He's played Thin Man in The Legion. He did so many. If you hear the Doug Jones and you're familiar with movies, and you know who this man is. So he played Nosferatu in that film, and that was like literally a direct sequel, a direct remake of the 1922 film. Now, you got to remember that all these other movies have been literally cut and dry. Vampire After This Girl, Wanting to Eat Her, except for Vampire in Venice, they were all just remakes. Vampire in Venice was the first one to take it to another place, where Nosferatu went from Germany to Venice, and it was very, very sexual. Come Nosferatu 2024, starring Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. Moving on, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, also starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin, and Willem Dafoe. Now, this was a direct remake again of 1922's Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horrors. It was directed by Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers has cemented himself as one of the greatest directors now because of this film alone. This movie took the story in a whole other direction. Even though it had a lot of sensuality and sexual stuff, it didn't show a lot of nudity. But it was very Nosferatu in this was more of a demon trying to possess the character of Lily Rose Depp. Throughout the whole movie, you see her in pure possession. It was very satanic. I was blown away by this one. The other ones just looked like a regular vampire movie, but she was throughout the whole movie possessed, doing all these faces, acting like the Exorcist, which was crazy. But for the most part, it carried the same story. In Nosferatu, it was like this beast of a vampire. It's funny because Bill Skarsgård has cemented himself as a monster actor. Like, this guy is a great actor. He's done so many movies and other stuff, but he does a lot of prosthetic work too. He played Pennywise, he's played the Crow, he's done, even though the Crow sucked, and now he's played this character, and it's like he disappears in this Nosferatu character. You wouldn't think that it's him. The only difference between this character and the other Nosferatus is the makeup and the way they made him look. And again, toward the end, he gets very sensual as a vampire, and he literally just wants to eat the girl, but it's very sexual and all that stuff. This movie, for me, out of a 1 to 10, I would have to give it a 10. Because even though I'm not really into the spirituality type stuff of horror and stuff like that, but the movie was very, very well done. It was like the 18th century, like, the whole what's that called? The history behind it was so rich. It was like the makeup, the acting, the visuals, the location, the cinematography, everything was just very, very on point. But if you're not into that type of horror, that spirituality type of horror, things like The Conjuring and all those satanic things, then this is not for you. But since I spent the whole time doing my research on it and everything, I really wanted to watch it because it looked like it was an interesting movie. And when I watched it, I actually fell asleep in the theater. To tell you the truth, there was a part. I mean, I work from way early in the morning to to 2:30. So by a certain time, I'm crashing. So I went to go see this movie. There was not a whole lot of action, but the whole movie's not about action. It's about this guy, this vampire, trying to get his hands on this girl and eating her. But he's very, Dracula is a very sexual character. He's a predator. So the movie was, I give it a 10 because it was very, very well done. Not my pick of the litter, but like, I wouldn't want to sit here and rewatch it. Oh, let me watch this movie. No. I saw it once. That's it. It was nominated for the 97th Academy Awards for the for Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, and Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So, yep, that's my review on the whole Nosferatu set of movies, including the 2024. It's out now. I think it's out on Peacock, maybe. I don't know right off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you look it up online, just look up Nosferatu. Underneath it, it'll show you where you can watch it. This has been Dave D. Saint with another Dave's Movie Dailies. I just gave you a review on Nosferatu. See you tomorrow. I'll bring 2 more. Okay? Have a good one.